Hey everybody, welcome to Always Good News. My name is Mark Miller and I'm so glad you've tuned in for another episode. We're going to have a great conversation tonight. Hey, do us a favor and let us know wherever you're watching from. We love to hear and see what cities, what provinces, what countries are represented tonight. We have people from all over the world that typically join us, and it's so good to have you with us tonight. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you click on the subscribe button and don't miss any more episodes in the future. Well, in just a few minutes, I'm going to be joined by Jordan Janzen and James Shiels of the GMA award-winning band, The Color. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have a great time. Let me just give you some background about these guys and the band, originating from Manitoba here in Canada. Jordan and James actually began this band after a season in life where they thought the dream of music was over and it was dying. And so I'll be asking more about that in a few minutes. They've been a real blessing to the ministry of Billy Graham Canada. We've done a lot of great events together, and they're awesome guys. They've been awarded multiple Canadian GMA awards, and they've spent the last few years touring their home country right here, full-time in Canada, coast to coast. They've shared the stage with a lot of great artists, such as for King and Country, Building 429, 10th Avenue North, Cutlass, and many more. So I'm going to go ahead and add those guys, and we are going to have a great conversation tonight. So glad you're here. Again, let us know exactly where you're watching from. And if you've got a question, we might be able to get to that at the end. Throw that in the question box. The fellas.
Hey, what's up, Mike? Great to see you.
James, Jordan, what's going on, guys?
Not too much. We're here together doing an interview, which has not happened for a very long time.
Man, it's been a while since I've seen you guys. It's been too long.
Yeah.
How are you?
We're good. Yeah, we're really good. We've got to be around our families for the last 6 months without going on the road at all.
That's a drastic change for you guys.
Totally. It's super different. It's really interesting, but at the same time, like you got to find your blessings where you can. And for us in the season, it's been our family time. So we've really cherished that.
Oh man, it's so good to see you guys. Listen, we've got a little tradition here, and we're not going to disappoint people that are watching tonight. We do a little bit of this or that. So here's how we'll do this one. I'll throw it out. You got to pick one. We'll start with Jordan, and then James, you answer. Boom, boom, shotgun approach. You ready?
Yeah, you bet.
All right, let's do this. Winnipeg Jets or Winnipeg Blue Bombers?
Winnipeg Jets. Are you supposed to answer that too?
Oh, Jets as well. Sorry, I thought it was question after question. Okay, I get it. We're in now.
James was like shocked. Sports? All right, now we'll warm you up. Live audience or recording studio?
Recorded. Not live audience.
Studio.
Oh, really? All right. Interesting.
Both are amazing, but
you enjoy the studio experience.
Yeah.
All right. Left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed, shoot left.
Oh, that's true.
All right. We're a little blurry. I don't know if you guys are seeing that. I don't know if the Wi-Fi is maybe glitching out there. Is it snowing in Winnipeg yet?
No. I don't know.
I also am not quite sure what to do about that. Our data is not the most amazing, but
well, this is technology. We always work with it. We'll work with it. It's all good. You can still see us. All right, let's keep going. Tacos or burritos?
Tacos.
Okay. Video games or board games?
Video games.
Board games.
James, you look like you hurt yourself trying to.
There's the truth to both.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, have you during COVID? Have you guys been playing a lot of games or early on in the lockdown? How was that?
I haven't played any video games. I only play video games actually when we're on tour on the bus.
Yep.
But my wife and I have been playing some board games with some friends.
Actually, Larry we have a PlayStation 4 on the bus, and he took it home, and he's been playing it, so we are not gaming, but he is.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Larry and Tyson, two of the other bandmates that are with us tonight. Okay, we'll keep going. A few more. Skydiving or bungee jumping?
I've never done either.
Bungee jumping, and I have done both.
What would you do, Jordan?
I would do skydiving.
Jordan, you look like you just learned something about your bandmate there. Is that true?
No, I just have to. I know a lot about him, so I for a moment forgot that he had gone bungee jumping. But was that a bit small?
Yeah.
I know.
That's amazing. Two more: Apple Music or Spotify.
Apple Music.
Spotify.
Okay. All right. Last one. This is a tough one. You ready? It's not really tough. Dog, cat.
Dog.
No question.
No questions. All right, fellas. Good to have you tonight. Like I said, man, it's been too long since we've been together doing ministry, and it's really good to see you both. When I first started, just gave a little bit of an intro about you guys. I mentioned that you guys started the Color after a season of life when you felt like you thought you were letting go of your musical dreams. And so I want to ask you two questions. Start with Jordan for the first part of the question, and James, you take the second part. The first part of the question is, tell us about how the band was formed, the story behind that. And then James, if you can let everybody know the reasoning behind the name, The Color.
Totally. Yeah. So James and I, we met back in high school. We played drums and jazz band, and so we've been playing music for a while. And James had written some songs at that point, and wanted to hear what they sounded like in a band setting. So he invited me in as a drummer, and eventually I kind of started singing. And so we did that for a little while. But yeah, you're absolutely correct in the sense that we had just kind of made a decision that we felt God was calling us to something different. And so we both entered full-time ministry. I was a youth pastor, James is a summer camp director, here, both kind of here in the area. And so we started doing that and just had to make a bit of a conscious decision to just say, like, we recognize with open hands that this might no longer be a thing. And fortunately, during that time, God used that season to really help us grow and mature. Even just when we were playing music earlier, it was Christian music, but the heart and the posture of our hearts was not necessarily with the desire of just building the kingdom and truly understanding what the impact could be. And so when we were in full-time ministry, it was just a season of growth. And so we started to meet actually once a week for accountability purposes. Our bosses let us have that time together, and that's where we started to write music that just came from a different place and led into what is now known as The Color. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Cool story. What about the name, James? Tell us about it.
Yeah, the name, I mean, like probably any band story, we had so many different names that we were toying around with, and eventually Jordan's mom had said to us, like, you guys can name yourself anything and people get used to it. Like, you can call yourselves The Color Orange. And we were like, hey, yeah, that's actually kind of cool. But one of the reasons why we nailed it down just The Color, but we like the idea that color brings life, and that's what we want to do with our music, with our lives, everything we do. We want to bring life to people around us.
Shout out to mom who's watching right now.
Hi, Linda.
Yeah, that's cool. And cool story, you know, that sometimes life doesn't always go, actually it never goes, you know, point A, point B, straight line, right? It's all over the place. And sometimes it feels like we're giving up on maybe what we thought was the dream, but God just redeems and has a way of working all things together for good. And you guys are a great story to that. And that's awesome. Now, I also mentioned you guys are great ministry partners of the Billy Graham Association for a long time now. We've done some great stuff together last year specifically, thinking of Belleville and Baker Lake way up north in Canada. That was quite an experience. Can you tell me why you guys enjoy collaborating with the ministry of the Billy Graham Association? Maybe a few memories that maybe have impacted you, or some good memories that you could share, good stories?
Totally. Yeah, we loved it. I think it's been since 2015, so it's been 5 years, which actually seems quite short. I think how my heart feels about it feels like we've been working together forever. But growing up, we both had experiences with the Billy Graham Association in one form or another. I know James's family was greatly impacted. He can speak to that a little bit as well. So we knew that they did great things, and we were leading worship with Canadian Youth Worker Convention and going around the country. And we did like 4 to 6 events that year. We got to meet one of your people, which is Dion, Uncle Dion, as we call him. And we just got to know his heart, and he wanted a band that was willing to be flexible and to kind of do whatever was needed. And so that was how we initially met and got connected. And then once we went and we spent time with you guys, we just fell in love with your heart for Jesus, and to just so clearly, singularly focus want to share the gospel with people, and specifically to pour into the country of Canada, which is a place that is near and dear to the Billy Graham Association, and we've just been so incredibly blessed to see the depth in which that love extends, and just how much you invest the time that you spend pouring into the community, getting the community leaders together. It's just something that we've been able to see firsthand and just completely stand behind. And so, yeah, we have a lot of great memories. For me personally, one of the things that we've been doing in more recent years is leading the devotional time in the mornings, which you have spoken at before, which has always been such a great time and so refreshing. And I love getting to see all of the community leaders, everybody who's involved in the planning of the event, coming together just with a singular focus, different backgrounds from different places, in different history, but just being able to come together for that weekend, for that time, knowing that they have this desire to love on their community. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. So for myself, Jordan alluded to it. My grandparents, my dad's parents, they lived in Quinte, British Columbia for a lot of years before moving to Williams Lake, but they're in kind of interior BC, and Billy Graham came through that area. I think it was in the 1950s or maybe early 60s. I knew the date at one point, but anyways, they went to that, and that's where they were saved, and that's where the legacy of the Shiels family following Jesus began. And,
wow.
So it's a really incredible thing. I only learned about that impact actually after we had started working with you guys. Dug in a little further and found out that's what actually happened. So it was a really cool experience to find that out. But for me, I think one of the many highlights is I'll often have the opportunity to just be playing some music behind Will Graham when he's giving the gospel presentation to people in various cities. And it doesn't matter if it's hundreds of people that are in the crowd or when there's thousands of people that are in the crowd. The message is the same. It's the gospel message. It's the good news of Jesus Christ. And just getting to see people respond to that, getting to see grandmas come with their grandchildren or multiple generations coming up to the stage, regardless of where you are, the message hits the same. And getting to just see that happen from on stage, like watching them all just respond to it. It's not about who's talking, it's about who's being presented, and that's Jesus. It's an amazing thing every time.
That's always a powerful moment for sure. And you guys have served so well, like I said, and we so appreciate you guys. On a lighter note, I remember we were in Baker Lake, and the blizzard started to move in, and none of us thought we were getting home. And I remember going to the airport, and one by one, you guys would kind of sheepishly approach the check-in counter to see, is there another seat on this plane? Yes. I think you sent Tyson home first because he was moving or something, and then somebody else stepped up, and the good news is you all made the flight and you all got back to home. But always good memories with you guys. So I just alluded, you guys are you all have families now, kids, as do Larry and Tyson, the other two band members. How's that affected what you guys do?
Yeah, I mean, it's greatly affected. I think on one side, just in terms of schedule and practicality, it's been something that is a constant balance and something that we have not completely figured out and probably will never be at a point where it's like, okay, this is it. And I think it's probably healthy to have some adjustment and awareness that, we're gone a lot, at least we were. This has been a season where we've been home the most we've ever been home, but for the last 5 years, it's been like 160 days on the road. And that makes an impact on your family life. And so, it takes a lot of intentionality. We have the blessing of being quite flexible when we are home, and so we try to make the most of that time. But, I think intentionality is the word, and it's been, as I said, it is a balance. And then on the other side of it as well, I don't know where I was going with that, actually, to be honest with you.
I can pick up.
Go for it. Yeah, maybe I'll think about it. Maybe I won't.
I think for all of us, the experience of having kids it's just like a whole new universe of learning and growth that opens up. Like there's the challenges that come with it, but then there's also just it's actually an amazing opportunity to understand the Lord's heart and like the whole concept of like a father and their child. Like it's a crazy thing where I learned that I love my children before they did anything to or for me. Like it's actually this innate love that I have for something that I miraculously have got to be a part of creating. The easier part, mind you, but so it's this amazing experience, and then you start to understand a little bit more of like, oh, like God, you actually love me not because of who I am, but because of who you are.
Right.
It's a pretty eye-opening thing to actually be part of it that way.
Totally.
Yeah, I hear you. Our first, I remember it was the light bulb moment of God as Father, and it just overwhelms you, doesn't it?
Yeah,
totally. Yeah, just for us, it's renewed our purpose and our sense of passion for what we do as well. Knowing that if we do have kids and it's a real sacrifice to be away from home, then this has got to count and this has got to mean something. And so there's been a bit of a refreshing process that we've been going through, which to me was a little bit unexpected. I didn't expect to have that side to it where we would actually be just excited to go out and have the opportunity to share the gospel, knowing that, God has given us this great opportunity.
Yeah, and I got to say, for people that don't understand what you guys do and, you know, bands and things like that, it's not glamorous. It's hard work, and it's hard to be away, and it gets harder as you have kids because there's more that you want to be back at home for with your wife and your kids. And you guys pay a great price, and so we really appreciate that. Speaking of having kids, you guys wrote a song called "The Kind of Man," and just an incredible song. And I'll make sure you guys give us your website at the end that people can check it out, because you've got a music video there that I just saw actually for the first time. I didn't know it was there. But I'd love to hear the story behind that song, "The Kind of Man," and then we'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason grabbed his guitar, and I'll talk about it a little bit. But we wrote that song in a season where our wives were pregnant. For James and I, we wrote this song together, and it was specifically when they were pregnant with our first. And so during that process, I mean, James and I spend a lot of time together, and so we get to go through life together and experience so many of the same struggles and questions, and this was no different. And so as we were writing the song, we were just talking about what life was going to look like, and just this reality that for James and I, we both have fathers who have been present and love the Lord and have led by this incredible example. But as we thought about having our own children, there's this weight that comes with it, and this gravity that we are going to be those people that they are looking to for guidance and for that foundation of faith. And yeah, it's an incredible responsibility, an incredible opportunity, but it doesn't come without severity. It's a big thing. And so what we understood is that we can do a lot of good things. We can put a lot of effort towards something, but when it comes to raising a child, like, we just don't have what it takes on our own. And this is something that we need God to just surround us, and we want to be more like Him. We've been given this incredible example. And so this is our prayer. As fathers, this is our prayer, to be the men that God has made us to be. He's called us to be the leaders in our home, to lay that foundation of faith. And so it goes like this.
Awesome. That's great. Let's hear it.
Yeah. If I speak your words like angels, I'll climb the highest peak, fight for fame, build my name so the world remembers me. It'll fade like stars in morn, a whisper in a crowd. It will all dissolve to nothing if that's what my life's about. So I pray, Lord, make me a man who loves his kids and loves his wife. Lord, make me a man who always stands for what is right. Strong enough to fight a war, I fall into his knees. That's the kind of man, that's the kind of man I want to be. fear and doesn't pause. Full of faith, full of hope, always holding on to hope. Faith through the dark, even when the night is long. Knowing in my weakness is where you show you're strong. Lord, make me a man who loves his kids and loves his life. Lord, make me a man who always stands for what is right. Who's strong enough to fight a war. I fall into his knees. 'Cause that's the kind of man. That's the kind of man I wanna be. Oh, yeah. That's the kind of man I wanna be. Oh, yeah. In my life and soul, and I cross the cribs, the seas, the ones I leave behind say they saw you in me. Lord, make me a man who loves kids and loves his life. Lord, make me a man who always stands for what is right. Strong enough to fight a war.
Guys, what a powerful song, and I love your heart in that. And man, it just comes through that the stakes are high, right? Our kids, our wives, and the example we leave behind. And I can say, because I've seen you guys in action, you guys are the real deal. I so appreciate that. We'll get ready to clue up in a minute, but I just want to ask you guys, you both wear, lots of different hats in terms of you just sang about it, husbands, fathers, Christian music artists. Let me ask both of you, maybe start with James and then we'll shoot over to you, Jordan. How does your relationship with Christ make a difference in all those roles? We talked about there's a lot to juggle, a lot on the go. What does Jesus mean to you in terms of, how does he help you? How has it changed your life to know you've got that relationship with Christ?
Yeah, totally. Man, it's everything. Like I think when you understand, like when you look at things from a perspective, when you look at, for me, when I look at parenting, when I look at my role as a musician, when I look at my role as a husband or just a friend to someone, or in my communities, it's something where when the perspective is that this life isn't all that there is, like there's something more. We're working for a greater good. In a way, we're actually just kind of like passing through. Then, for me, the impact that makes, like it's the exact same example that Jesus set when he was here. He didn't live a life that tried to get as many things or just try to make it as enjoyable as he could for while he was here. He lived his entire life as if everything's pointed towards eternal life with my Heavenly Father, and it changed everything that he did. And so there are times, like I think with the verse, like outwardly we are wasting away, and inwardly we are being renewed day by day. And that actually happens as a believer, as someone with a relationship with Christ. You're continually renewed in the midst of COVID, in the midst of being laid off, in the midst of struggles in my marriage or challenges in parenting, like all these kinds of things. When things are difficult, I can actually be renewed every single day, because it's actually not just about how I feel right now and in this moment. It's about how I'm honoring my Father and how I'm pointing and directing those around me to understand more of who he is. And like there's just something that comes along with that that gives strength to look beyond, to look outside of just a moment and those momentary struggles or hardships. That renewing day by day, like that's something that I just experience. Like it's so real.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I was trying to think of multiple answers while James was answering, and I think what I landed on,
That's the advantage.
what I landed on it is it gives me hope. It really does. The message of Christ Jesus and who he was and who he is gives me hope to go forward. It gives me purpose and in what I'm doing, whether that is as a father or as a evangelist who spreads the gospel through music. Yeah, there's a reality that life is messy and it looks different for everybody. We seem to be united right now in this season of life, whether you're where you are or we are here in Manitoba. There's just the reality that the life isn't perfect, and that there's this incredible hope that we have that we can hold to, that we sing about. It's the reason why we do what we do, and so that's just an incredible truth that we can hold to because we are human, and the gift of salvation is something that we celebrate.
Yeah, I think, man, I think so true. And if anything, COVID has exposed the fact that nothing else gives us hope because everything else is shaking.
Right.
And we've all been impacted in some way or another. And so this is, not only is it a global pandemic, but it's a global hope that we have in Jesus.
Right.
And you guys, that's amazing. As I mentioned earlier, for everybody that's watching, these guys have, they've been a part of so many different events that we've done in partnerships and ministry. And this year, I just wanted to just reference, we had planned 2 celebrations in Canada, in Ontario, both in the city of London and Sudbury. And although we have to postpone those 2 events, Will Graham will be sharing the hope of Christ that Jordan and James have talked about online. So I just want to give a quick shout out and reference to that, October 6th at 6 p.m. Eastern on willgrahamlive.com or on the Billy Graham Canada Facebook page. And man, just invite your friends, invite people to watch it, and just be praying that God's going to use technology in this way, that we can get the message and the good news of Jesus again out across Canada, and then continue our journey in London and Sudbury. Jordan and James, it's man, it's always so good to connect with you guys. I'd rather do it in person, but hey, let's do it this way. How can people connect with you guys, the band, and where can they find your music?
Yeah, so I mean, we're on any streaming platform that someone wants to listen to us. Search for The Color, COLOR, and you'll be able to find us. If for whatever reason you're having a hard time, go to thecoloronline.com, and you'll be able to find links for all of our streaming services, or all the streaming services that we're on, I should say, as well as Facebook, Instagram, those kinds of things.
Awesome. So good to have you guys. Thanks for taking time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Great to see you again.
See you guys soon. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
Yeah.